Hi, this is Nancy Ralsma with On Point TV and Quilting with Nancy. Thank you for joining. Okay, technical question. Can anybody hear me? You should have been able to hear music during the little slideshow at the beginning, but we couldn't hear it here. So now we're worried that nothing else is working too, like it happened last week. I see the little mic thing saying that there's sound, but I'm just going to sit here for a little bit until somebody tells me that they can hear me. Anybody? Anybody? Bill, can you hear me? There we go. I can hear me. Okay, that means I just got live upstairs. So thank you for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. I do want to tell you, I just sent out, so on my YouTube channel, I have the opportunity for you to become members. There's 3 levels of member. The beginning level, and you can see the little join button underneath this video if you're interested in this. All right, everybody says you can hear me. Yeah, but I don't know where the music went, Beverly. I thought that was really weird. And I did notice, Kay, that you're in Huntsville, Alabama. I will be in Huntsville, Alabama, teaching at Southern Comfort Shop and the Madison Guild. So maybe I'll meet you when we're there. All right, everybody, and hello, Germany. Wow. Hi, everybody. Okay, so memberships. I just sent out information about my next EQ training session for designer and addict members. Now, there's 3 levels of membership. There's the beginner level that is $5 a month, and that pretty much is you helping me do what I'm doing. If you enjoy the videos, if you would like to continue to have me keep doing the videos and not have to get a part-time job kind of a thing, then consider joining the beginner level. It just helps me out $5 a month. Then there's the designer level that is $10 a month. And with that, yes, you're helping me stay on air, and you get to join me when I'm doing designing of quilts. So I just sent out the information for the next quilt that we're going to design, and I'm going to show it to you in a second. And third is the addict members. The addict members are people that really like the show, and what they get is when I come out with a new book or a new pattern, they get a free e-copy of that. And that level is only $20 a month. So the reason I bring this up is there's 3 people that I do not have emails for. If you've signed up to be an addict member or a design member, you have to send me your email. I don't get it otherwise. YouTube does not give it to me. They do all the billing and everything. And so I just sent this out. So this is the quilt that we will be designing tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. So if you are a design level member or an addict level member, you should have literally 10 minutes ago gotten the email with the Zoom. If you know that you're a designer or an addict and you did not receive that email, email me, because I probably just don't have your email. All right. So my email is quiltingwithnancy@gmail.com. So and that's where you go shop, Kay. I'm actually teaching the New York Beauty class there. So if you're interested, give them a call. All right. So today we are going to work on cats in space. And you got to say it like that. Just like the Muppets used to have the pigs in space. And I was raised on a pig farm, and I also am a huge Star Trek fan. And you probably already know that already. So when Elizabeth Hartman came out with this new design, I was just I was over the moon. I was over the moon. I was so excited. I just think it is so cute. Now, keeping in mind, in that little slideshow at the beginning, I had some other Elizabeth Hartmans that I've made, or that lemur one my friend Marty made. And I love her designs. If you've never tried one of her designs, consider it. Now, some of them I would say are intermediate, maybe even an intermediate advanced, because of all the angles that you have to do and the reverses and stuff. In terms of ease of making it, cats in space is actually a pretty easy one. They're super cute, and it is the first one that I know of that she's actually set them in the wonky setting, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So here is 2 of the cats in space, and what I did is I painted their faces. I'm actually making this for Smith Owen Sewing Center, which is on Plainfield in Grand Rapids, for the AQS show for them to hang in their booth. And so Sherry picked out all the fabrics that I'm using, except the background. I had that one already. And so she gave me like a little brown-faced cat and a little light-colored faced cat. And I was like, well, those are cute, Sherry, but I am going to change them up. She goes, oh, no, what do you mean? I'm like, well, cats don't have solid brown faces and solid cream-colored faces, so I'm going to paint them to look like my cats. So This one is the one that you saw on the slideshow. This is RC. RC is the cat that takes up the most space. That's why I wrote it that way, because he is a cat taking up space for sure. He's about 22 pounds. He's about this big. I wish he was a Maine Coon. I've got a niece down in Mississippi that has a Maine Coon. I wish I had one of those. And then this one is Mulligan, and he's kind of more of a tiger stripe. So I did paint mine. You don't have to do that. That would be totally up to you. But I did because I thought it was fun, and you know that I do a lot of things with painting anyhow. So we are going to start with how to pick your fabrics. All right, so here we are. This is the pattern, Cats in Space. And I love that the cats are not all straight up and down. When you look into this, and if you even go to Elizabeth Hartman's website, tons and tons of really cool animal patterns. And they're almost always a straight set. I loved that these were set kitty wampus, and I'll show you how to do this. This is another kitty, and this is going to be, this one would be my gold kitty. This would have been Rory, who passed away a little while ago. So that would be Rory, and I haven't painted the last face. So that's one that we're going to get to, but here is the little pattern, and there is usually a small and a large. I'm making the small, which I think is maybe 56 inches. Okay, so when you're picking out your fabrics, my recommendation, especially for the background, is that you choose a background that you cannot easily see a seam. So you see where I've got that fold? You can only just barely see that there's a fold there, which is great because that means when all is said and done, you are not going to see any real definition of seam in the space. Now, this is a new fabric. I think Smith Owen is picking it up, but I'll tell you that it is a Moda. It's Astra by Janet Claire. It's a Moda. Heavens Stretch Out Above Us. And I know that there's a cream colored with blue little stars and celestial shapes. And then this one. And I actually picked this one up when I was in Paducah, knowing I was going to make the Cats in Space quilt. So that, I think, is the most important. That you pick a fabric for the background that you cannot easily see that seam, just like this one. All right. The next, for this particular quilt, you are supposed to pick 3 fabrics of the same shade. I only picked 2. So these are the ones that we picked. This is the perfect fabric for their little, what is this? His jetpack, and this is his jetpack here and his suit. Now in the pattern, this part of the jetpack could be a 3rd color. We chose to just do it with 2 colors and have plenty of fabric. I think it calls for 1/4 of a yard, and you maybe need like a 1/2 of a 1/4 of a yard. It doesn't take that much fabric, as you can tell. So here I've got the dark and the light, and that's what we did. So we have the dark and the light of this kind of burgundy-ish color, the 2 shades of orange, 2 shades of green, and 2 shades of blue. And if you happen to be able to come to the AQS show that is going to be in Grand Rapids, August 17, 18, 19, here in Grand Rapids, that's where the next AQS show, which is the 2nd largest of all the AQS shows. Come on in and be sure you stop by and say hi. I've got 1 class on Wednesday. I'm doing the All-Star Review on Wednesday afternoon, and then I have a lecture on Friday. So it'd be really great to meet you if you happen to want to come on up to the AQS, and then you'd be able to see this quilt all quilted in the Smith Owen sewing booth, because that's who I'm making it for. So we are going to now start prepping our pieces. So when you're working on this quilt, let me move these to the side because that's what we'll take to the sewing machine. She is going to have you be cutting a lot of little pieces. This is a classic Elizabeth Hartman, and honestly, any connecting corners type of a quilt. That's the technique we're going to be using. I guess we don't need that. So these are the fabrics you're going to use. Oops, something just moved on my screen. I don't know if it moved on yours, but I'm going to put it back. There, all right. So the first thing you want to do is choose the fabrics you're going to use. So there's like a little white one for his little face and his little eyes and nose. This is the one that we're using for the spacesuit helmet, and then these are our cat fabrics. Before you do anything, take your fabrics and spray size them rather stiffly. And when I say stiffly, I like them so that, like, if they get messed up, I can take and tap them into place like this. That's how stiff. So about stiff as a piece of paper. Using either one of these products would be my choice, the Mary Ellen's Best Press. And then the newer one on the market is the one from Magic. Honestly, I think the product in both of these are absolutely fabulous, but I do love the sprayer in the Magic one better. So consider trying that one out. It's newer. You'll see it at a lot of the big shows. So take and spray size stiffly all of your fabrics, your background, your suits, your faces, all of that. It will make the process of sewing this so much easier. All right. Then as you're cutting them, be sure that you write on them what they are. Now, some people will take, and clipping them together like this is the absolute best. So if you've got, you know, your bucket of like the clover clips, this kind of an idea, yeah, you can pin them. This is just more convenient and doesn't hurt so much when you touch it the wrong way. So I take and I write on the top one. So in this case, I used my Friction Fine Liner. I think it gets out of blur, gets out of focus when I bring it in. But this is one of the newer Friction pens. It has a larger, more of a hard felt tip, and you can write right on the fabrics. Now, I wouldn't do this if I was writing on a dark batik, which none of these are, so I'm not worried about it. So on the dark ones, I use this. On the black one, I used my white Boheen chalk marker because then I can see it. Then when I'm using this piece, I take the pieces off the bottom, always leaving the one that is labeled on the top. And, you know, when I start doing the cutting for these, I try to be very, you know, power cutting, very methodical about how I'm cutting it. Take your time, follow her instructions. She always has you cut the largest pieces first and then kind of trim things down and trim things down. So she's helping you make the most efficient use of all of your fabrics. All right. So get those all cut out, and then with the clips on them, they're just awesome because you can just toss them into your box. All right. Then you're going to proceed to the piecing instructions. So when you're looking at the piecing instructions, I'm just going to show you the idea of one little part of them. But what she's going to have you do is connecting corners. The idea of taking a rectangle, oops, that's the wrong side of that gray fabric. I'm glad I double checked that one. Of taking a rectangle, a square, something that has four sides, not a circle. And you're going to put the smaller piece on top, and then you're going to sew it on the diagonal. And we're going to go to my sewing machine here in just a second. I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to take these to the sewing machine. What is really important, and I don't normally pin them because you'll just have this little guy right here with me. What is really important is that you actually line it up so that it's on top of the piece, you know, square on. Oftentimes you'll get to putting it on and, it might be a little bit off and you might not really even notice it. Take your time. Know that it is going in the right direction. So now we're going to take these, and we're going to take this too, because this is going to be part of the stars, which are also done with connecting corners. And we're going to go to my sewing machine. Now I've got it set up. I'm hoping that everybody can see. You're going to be able to see better than I can see when I'm doing this, because I have to turn down my view on my machine, the lights. My FAF icon has the most phenomenal landing lights. It's so bright. But in order for me to show you how to use it, it just blinds everything out. It turns everything pitch white. So here's at my sewing machine. This is my FAF icon. This is one of the rare times that I'm going to recommend that you use your 1/4 inch foot. So let me get this pulled up a little bit so you can see. It's got a fabulous thread cutter. So this is what I'm talking about. So this is a classic kind of 1/4" foot. Most machines are going to have something like this. You might notice in most of my videos, I don't recommend this. It's not always my go-to foot for making a 1/4" seam. My preference is normally to use my wider foot and then move my needle over. And the reason I like that better, generally speaking, is because when you use this foot, let's put it back down. Well, I can't, I'll just put it down this way. Do you see how the right-hand side of all the feed dogs, they don't get used, and the left-hand side until it gets in there. And I find that if I'm, making, really precision type piecing, I want them these feed dogs to be used. So I usually use my other foot. But in this case, I want to use this foot, and I want to use this foot with this marking tape. Now this is the diagonal seam tape from Cluck Cluck Sew, which is just so cute that that's their name. This is the one that I've been talking about. I've probably been showing this for the last couple of years. I know that Smith Owen Sewing Center always has this on hand. And this is what it looks like. It kind of is a roll of tape that's pretty much a washi tape. So if you're into paper crafting at all, Athena is here. Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Oh, okay, everything's fine. I thought maybe something was going wrong.
No,
you can hear me?
Dropped off. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. She's trying to have Bill fix her car, which is really kind of a hilarious little thing there.
I was just looking
Okay.
at the camera.
Oh, okay. So this is the Cluck Cluck tape. And the idea is the center is red. And that is going to be your center line. The two sides are the 1/4". So using that side and the edge of the foot is how I'm going to piece the blocks together. But most of what we are going to be doing is going to be using the connecting corners technique. Now, one thing you can do, oops, I forgot something at my table. Be right back. When you're doing connecting corners, most instructions are going to tell you to take and draw a diagonal line where you're planning to sew. So I will do that one time here for you. All right. So taking a ruler, placing it corner to corner, kind of hard on my tipped machine here, like that. All right. Now you've seen me do that gazillions of times. This is nothing, rocket science. But taking the time to do that is such a pain. I'm just not into it, right? So instead, I use the diagonal tape right here. So I'll know where my center is for connecting corners, and then I can switch right over and do a 1/4" seam allowance. Okay, so this is how it works. Now, I'm always going to start with my leader. When you're sewing your connecting corners, now I'm going to sew this diagonal line, and I'm going to do the one that actually has the line on it. My recommendation is to not sew directly on the center line, but instead try to get your needle to land just to the left or the outside. So this would be the inside with the most of the fabric. This would be the little outside. Try to sew just to the outside. So when you start, it's always going to be best to not, don't start at the point. Try to start at the part where there is a wide, like a big flat surface. Your machine will not take it down inside. And when you're sewing, when you've drawn the line, you're going to take and try to sew just to the left of that line. Now, I obviously do chain piecing. So this is the next one. I want to make sure I'm putting my angles in the right place. All right. So now I'm going to sew it on this little black one. This one, I did not draw a line. What I'm going to do is I am going to watch the corner, the black corner, so that it is riding on the red line. Actually, a smidge. I do need to turn down the speed of my machine so I don't keep running off. I'm going to line up that so that it lines up with that lines. Now I can go back to the one behind it. I've got quite a few to do here, but this one's a nice big one, so it makes it easy to see. And I'll just chain piece. So that one's done. Now I need to do this diagonal line. The one here finished up. I was to the corner of the black. Now I'm going to bring the next one in and see how they line up butt together, kind of snuggled together right there. That's going to tell me I'm going to be able to start right on the point of this next piece. Once I do just 1 or 2 stitches, from then on, I am looking down here. I'm not looking up there. Watch the corner as it floats up that center line. Then you know that you are correct in your direction that you're sewing. All right, now this little guy, again, if he started, let's see, I've got to make this one go this way. All right. Watch the corner of the piece that you're sewing. Then you can reach around the back. And oftentimes you will see me do a lot of chain piecing. If you are not really comfortable with chain piecing, working on Elizabeth Hartman, trying to chain piece, this is not the time for you to try that because it can get quite confusing. You'll have like 2 pieces that'll be the same and then the rest of them will all be different. All right, so we're going to now play with this one. All right, so these 2 are both sewn, and that's basically what you're going to do. You're going to be doing connecting corners on all of the pieces. Now from here, the thing I want to do next is press this over. So my iron is next to me. You're not going to see me press this, but I'm going to set the seam like I always do, pressing flat down. Then I'm going to flip up each of those corners, and I'll be back with you in a second. One thing that I really love is because I have used the spray sizing, they're going to hold in place. So there, I have pressed them both over, and it will now hold in place quite nicely, nice and flat. After I have pressed, I want to trim. So I like to look at the back side, and if I had not been very precise with this, sometimes this top fabric will kind of be sneaking out over the edges. Let me see if I've got one. This one here is just the slightest little bit. It's just sneaking. You can't really tell because the colors are so similar. So sometimes I might actually trim the fabric that's actually on the bottom here, trim it so it's even with the bottom fabric, so it does like that. It is so minute, it's not necessary. I just kind of like to be as precise as I can whenever possible. Then you're cutting off the excess part. So with this, keep in mind, some people like to be very, very frugal, and I appreciate that. And what they'll do is they will actually have already sewn an extra seam here, so then you can have like a little half square triangle made, but that is up to you. We're not going to do that today. I've done that before in some other projects for you. So there is my first part. That is basically what you will be doing through this entire quilt, making the cat, the helmet, and all of the suits. Then you're going to do the same thing. This one, I can see that a little bit sticking out there with the stars. And with the stars, she's having you make flying geese using the connecting corners technique. So I've already done the first part of the flying goose. Now I'm going to put the second square down. Again, starting not at the corner, but up here at the top, lining the point, the corner of that one, right there on the right-hand edge, and then go. I want to get a next one done so that I can show you. Oops. Oh, this one has a little bit more of that sticking out stuff. So right here, that purple is sticking out. I'm just going to trim that so it's even with the black before I cut off the excess part. Then take my next little piece, squaring it up, putting it in place, and then chain piecing this little guy, watching the angle. And that is connecting corners. That's all there is to it. And using the diagonal seam tape is going to make that process so much easier. You don't have to take all the time to draw all the lines and, that kind of thing. Now, some people can actually eye it. I can eye it pretty good as long as the square's not too large. Also, some machines, with the FAF sewing machine, you have a nice space from the needle to the front of either the machine case or if you're using an extension table. Now, if your machine only has a small space between the needle and the front of the machine, if you're going to do many connecting corners designs, if the squares are large, the diagonal tape won't work because there's not enough space for your diagonal tape to go on. So consider then using your acrylic table. If you use an acrylic table, then you'll have lots of space. I hope that makes sense because I know that went really quick. Let me see. Yep, love the tape. The tape is really cool. Hello, everybody in Maine and Germany and all you places. Okay, there you go. Now we're back. So the next step, after you've got your cats all drawn, so I've got to move this all out of the way because we're going to do the wonky, my eyes go big, the wonky cutting. I love doing that. So this little one has already been cut. All right. Oops, let's go to overhead. All right. You can see here that he is cut wonky. So this, if I flip him over to the back side, it's maybe easier to see. So this is the seam, but this is the cut. I've already added one of them on, so it actually was only this big, but let me show you how we do that. So this is when it's all pieced. I had one little flip here. I did that on purpose because it was two seams buttoned together. But for the most part, everything lays nice and flat. Lots of spray sizing because that's what I do. So this guy is the one we're going to trim. Okay, got to give myself lots of space. I actually had to zoom my camera up while we were setting up because you couldn't see the whole thing. So for this technique, you might recall that at Christmas time, I did a Quilter's Favorite Tools thing. Yeah, this was one of them. This is a 20.5-inch square. I wonder if I can pull this down a little bit more so you can see the top. All right, 20.5-inch square. That's, now you don't have to have it for this project, but boy, oh boy, it sure would make it a lot easier. And then use some glow tape. So this is the OmniGrid glow tape. Again, if you watched any of my videos or many of my videos, you know that I use this an awful lot for squaring things up. And that's basically what we're going to do now. So this needs to be squared to 19.5 by 17.5 inches. So mark that on your ruler. All right, you're not going to be able to see the top because I have to scooch that up to cut. Now you're going to take that and you're going to spin it. So you're going to make it kitty wampus. All right, as my friend Ginger would say, it's kitty wampus. I don't know anybody else that used to say that, but Ginger, that and by hook or by crook. Yep, you crack me up, Ginger. Okay, so the idea here, let me move this way. See how it's up there at the top? You want to be sure that you get a point there. Try and get a point, you know, it might not come all the way down here up to the top. And then this is the other thing. From this edge to his little hand is about 2.5 inches. Now I'm going to look on the other side. From this edge to his hand is 1, 2, oh, only 2.25. All right. So now if I do it that way, from this edge of the ruler to 2.25, this edge where it's marked 1, 2.25, then do the same thing at the top and the bottom. So right now I've got about 1 3/4 from the top and 1 3/4 from the bottom. And then you're tipping it. And so after you've tipped it as far as you think you want to tip it, that's when you're going to check those measurements. And then you cut. So we're going to start here. And this would be something that you probably want to do on a lower table. I'm doing this on my tall cutting table, which is taller than most cutting tables. Going to cut, yeah, this one and this one. Oops, missed this little bit right there. Ah, hacking at it, sorry. The reason why you want to work on a lower table, because when it's really high, it's hard to get through those thick parts. Now spin the kitty cat around. Spin, little cat, spin. All right. Now I can put it right into, I feel like I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? I want him cut there. All right, I've done this 20 times. Why would I all of a sudden have done it wrong? Because I need 17. All right, let's flip this over. There. Now it'll work. There. Okay. I did not know, I don't know what I did, but I need to now line that up. That was kind of odd, honestly. There. So from top to bottom is 19.5, but now because of what I just did, which I'm not really sure how I did it, I've only got like 1/2 inch there, and look at all this space I got down here. So I'm going to make another cut. So there you are. You get to see me make a boo-boo. Nothing new there. Won't be my first, won't be my last. There. So now I'm going to make it so that from here to the foot and the top to the head, there, I'm going to do like that. And then we're going to make another cut once we're done, which I don't normally have to do. Right there. That was a good cut. I don't normally have to do this either. Well, let's see. If I use a skinny ruler, maybe that'll work. Got cords everywhere. Because I can't make a left-hand cut, so I'm going to use a second ruler. Put it next to my big ruler. There you go. These are the things that you do when things don't turn out the way you thought they would. Then I can cut that next to that. Okay, put that ruler away. And now I got to fix the cut that I had made, because he needs to be 19.5 by 17.5. Let's scooch that down a little bit. There. Now it should be tucked it in there, nice and straight here. Trimming a little off the top there. I'm going to trim the bottom. So that'll be 19.5 inches. I'm sure that you've all made the same mistake that I just made and knew how to fix it. If you didn't, now you know. So there you go. There is my next Cats in Space. This is a face that has not been painted, so depending on what your cats in your life look like, this is a cat that has been painted. In particular, I think I like the eyes. So put a little, color in there and made him look really cute. And then you'll put lots of the stars going around it, just like she does. Oh my goodness, I have so much fabric over here, I can't find my switcher. All right, there. So you're going to take and make a couple of stars. You can make one of the kitty cats be upside down or make them all straight. Really, it's up to you. There's so many options. So there you go. That is the Cats in Space by Elizabeth Hartman. All connecting corners. And as I mentioned, she's got zillions of really fabulous animal patterns in particular. There's the woodland animals, and the one of the pictures at the slideshow at the beginning was the wiener dogs with sweaters. They were so cute. I gave that to my daughter-in-law's sister because she had a Owen wiener dog. He was so cute. So this one, though, I think is one of the easier ones. There's not as many odd angles. The nose would be one place where there's two angles crisscrossing each other. But when you follow her instructions, very, very clear. You shouldn't have any problem doing this. I'm going to get this little guy all pieced together, and maybe next week or the week after I'll do a quilting video, kind of show you how I plan on quilting all of the Cats in Space. So any more questions? Hello, Long Beach, California. I will be in Long Beach, California for the festival, for Quilt Festival. So maybe I will see you there. That would be really great. I'll be there for 3 or 4 days, something like that. I'm pretty excited about it. I've been to California before, but never to Long Beach, and I heard that's where Snoop Dogg hangs out. That's what I've been told. I don't know. I don't know these things. If you have any questions, contact me at QuiltingWithNancy@gmail.com. If you are a designer or addict member in particular, please send me your email if you're interested in doing the design that we're going to do tomorrow, which is going to be like this. It's going to be called Happy 4th. And then I think this might be a pattern that I'll be able to get done too. That shouldn't be too hard, and I just think it's super cute. And I don't have a 4th of July quilt, and we're having a big family reunion. Oh, it'd be really fun. Okay, I digress. I'm going to make this before the 4th of July, and then I'm going to have all my family members sign it. So it'll be a 4th of July Allen family reunion signature quilt. That will be cool. Pretty excited about that now. Just thought about it. If you got any questions, contact me. Please, please, please. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. And like the video and make comments, because the more likes and more comments I get, YouTube likes that more, and then I make 2.5 pennies more when you do that. And I don't know, those 2.5 pennies add up after a while, right? All right. Thank you very much for joining me.